we call ourselves that because we live, my husband and I live on Camino El Ganado in Tucson, and Aaron said one day when we were getting together, well, we should just call ourselves Cattle Street, so that's what we do. So there's nothing magical about being in Ireland. And we are going to play some Irish music for you, some reels and jigs and various types of jigs and a polka or two. And our first one is actually Dunmore Lasses, which we already played, and that was a reel. And the next one is a slow air, and it's called Shebeg and Shamor. And Shebeg and Shamor is supposedly the story of a battle between the fairy gods. And it happened between two mountains, which is Shebeg is the small one, and Shamor is the big one. And I don't know who won.
Irish music is social music. People get together, play the music, they either dance in a big dance hall, or they get together in somebody's living room or kitchen, they invite the relatives and the neighbors, and they chat and they play music and they have a good time. Also in pubs, it's popular for people to gather and play music and socialize.
And this definitely is from Ireland because there's so much ocean around there. It's not a sea shanty, but it is a jig, and it's a fun tune to play.
Can I just say that with a jig, you can think, it's in 6/8, we counted in 2, but you can think Jiggity, 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 jiggity. So, the Butterfly is a tune that's mostly played for competition. I don't even think they dance to it socially. And it's a jig, but it's a different type of jig. And it's in 9/8. We counted in 3. And this one, instead of saying jiggity, jiggity, jig, you can say, buy the band a beer, buy the band a beer.
She's always trying to get a free drink.
Of all people in the band, I've been asked to talk a little bit about music theory. And I do so with a person in the back of the room with a doctorate in music, so I've got to be really careful. These next two tunes are, we call them modal, and really what that means, it's a general term for meaning not following either a major or a minor scale. And I'm going to try to explain this way. And this is the Piano Society, so I'm allowed to do this. I'm going to ask you to picture middle C on the piano, and then think about the intervals as you move up from middle C through the octave. And you're going to go whole step, half step. Now you're at F, and you're going whole step, whole step, whole step. Now you're at B, and then you make that extra little half step and you're at C again. So that's a major scale. It's called an Ionian scale. Very different things happen if you don't start on C. If you retain all those same intervals and start on D, for example, you've right away you've lost one of the whole steps. So you've got whole step, half step, and that turns into a minor third. And then as you go up the scale, it turns into a minor 7 as well. I will try to illustrate. Da, 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 minor third. Da, 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 da. I blew it. The 7th is really hard for me. Again. Da, 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 minor third. 4, 5, 6, 7, minor 7, 8. So that's it. And that's the Dorian scale. When you start in the second position, and our first tune is in that mode, and the next tune that we're attaching to it starts in the 5th position, which turns out to have only a minor flatted 7. So it's really a nice sound, but it's different from the Dorian. That's called Mixolydian. So these are 2 jigs, modal jigs.
Now we're really confused. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 1, 2.
play some polkas, some of our favorites. Polkas are always played at Irish sessions, and in pubs especially. I had kind of a traumatic experience in my younger days with polkas. You know, you say, how could you have an experience with polkas? Well, I was in college in Upper Michigan, and someone called me and said, the leader of our band is ill, can you sit in on a wedding? And I said, oh, sure, I can do that, no problem. I got to the wedding, and it was a Finnish wedding, and all they wanted to hear were polkas. The only polka I had ever heard was the beer barrel polka, which has very telling lyrics. They are, roll out the barrel and we'll have a barrel of fun. Well, that turned out to be true. So throughout the night we had requests for all this and that polka, play this polka, and so on. And we continued to play very slight variations of the beer barrel polka. And everybody was happy, so it worked out. This is Charlie Harris's polka, and then Egan's polka. 1, 2, 1.
The Celtic nations, so called because their Celtic languages have survived into the modern times. There are 6 Celtic nations, and they are Scotland, the Isle of Man, Ireland, Wales, Cornwall, and Brittany, France. In Brittany, they have a very popular dance called Andro, which means the turn. And it's danced usually in a big hall like this, sometimes outside. And when they dance inside, they dance in a circle, and they hook their little fingers like this, and they go down and up and back and down, kind of like this. It's kind of hard with our instruments here. And there is footwork. They move to the right, they move to the left. I guess that's why it's called andro, the turn. They're turning back and forth. And it is accompanied by a contemporary instrument called the bombard. which is like an oversized oboe. It's double reed. It has a very unpleasant sound. We're going to do 2 andros. The first one is known by the title The Wren. Most andros are just called andro. I have no idea how a band knows what they're going to play if they say, okay, andro, because they don't have, but we call the second one Mavish because we learned it from a band called Mavish. So, and it's in 4/4. Called Shivivukra, and it is in a mountainous area, and it covers about 3 different counties: Cork, Killarney, there's another one, Limerick. Polkas are very popular there, in which they aren't in the rest of Ireland. And there's another dance called the slide that's very popular there, which it isn't in other parts of Ireland. And the slide is in 12/8, so it's quite different. And it is dance, it's a set dance, so it's dance, kind of think of square dance with 4 couples. And it's often they play a polka and then they go right into a slide. So it's in 12/8, but we counted in 4. This one's called Going to the Well for Water.
mention, Neil has been playing concertina for less than a year, I think. And it's really a difficult instrument. Different note if you push or pull, and he's doing a great job on it.
The thing is this on? You don't have to live with the person who's learning to play the concertina. No, he's doing great. Anyways, this last tune is a hornpipe. And we counted in 4/4 times since we were talking about the timing. And it also is a dance. It's not really fast. And it's also not to be confused with a hornpipe, which is a actual musical instrument, and it's made with a cow's horn and all that. But it's not that. It's Harvest Home, and it's a hornpipe.
Fáilte. That means welcome in Irish. In fact, it means 100,000 welcomes because the Irish aren't ever slow to make you welcome. Welcome to Orker for our program of Irish music today. I know you've heard half of it already, now you're going to hear the other half. We are the voices of the Oaks, but you know the original voices of the Oaks were the ancient Druids of Ireland, who were very active even before St. Patrick got there. So we sing in a very old tradition. In lieu of program notes, I'm going to make a few remarks about some of the songs we're singing tonight. We started with the familiar Wearing of the Green. Like several of today's songs, this one dates back to the rebellion of 1798. The Irish have had quite a few rebellions, and they pretty well got it right in 1916, although some people think it's not over. Next you will hear Down by the Sally Gardens, a poem by William Butler Yeats, one of 4 Irish writers who have won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Then The Rakes of Mallow, a rollicking drinking song. Mallow is in County Cork, and the rakes are not for leaves or for hay. Rather, they refer to reckless and promiscuous young men.
breaking, windows flaring, sinking, ever blinking, never thinking, live the race of Mallow. Spending faster than it comes, speeding waiters, bailiffs, nuns, Bacchus, true begotten sons, live the race of Mallow. One time not but claret drinking, then like politicians thinking, raising funds when funds are sinking, live the race of Mallow. Living short but merry lives, going where the devil drives, having sweethearts but no wives, live the race of Mallow. Racking tenants, stewards, teasing, swiftly spending, slowly raising, wishing thus to spend their days in begging as a Mallow. Get to end this wages life, this ring is overtake us wife, tailor after living strife, wishing e'er for Mallow, wishing e'er for Mallow, wishing e'er for
The next three songs are an interesting contrast. The Lark in the Clear Air describes the beauty of nature in the Irish countryside. In Shule Aroon, a young woman is parting with her young man. He has been forced to choose between exile or joining the British Army, a choice that was often given. He's chosen the latter. The translation of the chorus, sung in Gaelic or Irish, is in your programs. Finally, a rebel song, again referencing the 1798 rebellion. The Rising of the Moon is also a play by Lady Augusta Gregory, co-founder of the Abbey Theatre in Dublin.
Mallow.
Pasture for Irish racehorses and now even includes a racetrack. But it has a history of military use. Her lover is a soldier and may not come back. You'll hear a reference to something called livery. That's a uniform for those of us who haven't heard that phrase in a long time. During the Civil War in the early 1920s, hundreds and maybe thousands of prisoners were kept there at the Curragh. Irishmen jailed by other Irishmen. My father was one of those prisoners. Dulaman means seaweed, and you're going to hear a story about how an Irishman who harvests and sells seaweed comes a courting. The young woman's family has various comments about this, and you should be aware, and I know there's translations in your program, that the chorus, which you hear, is seaweed from the Yellow Cliff, Irish seaweed. Seaweed from the ocean, it's the best in all of Ireland. That's the young man singing his wares, trying to get his seaweed sold. Seaweed is used in Ireland for a lot of purposes, including feed, not only for horses, but sometimes for humans, and sometimes to mix with a very rocky soil. The song probably originates on the west coast of Ireland. I've heard Donegal. A Parting Glass is our last song. The Scots have a good claim to this, and the Irish are willing to share.
Tula
song sometimes leaves a little tear in your eye. We didn't want you to leave on St. Patrick's Day. So we thought we'd have this as sort of an encore. I think a song that most of you know. So first a little introduction. There's a tear in your eye, and I'm wondering why, for it never should be there at all. With the power of your smile, sure as stone you beguile, so there's never a teardrop should fall. When your sweet lilting laughter's like some fairy song, and your eyes twinkle bright as can be, you should laugh all the while, and all other times smile, so now smile a smile for me.